Hello and welcome to another calm and quiet episode of Boring Science for Sleep. Tonight, we'll explore something extremely ordinary, almost invisible in our daily lives, yet surprisingly important in the story of our planet. We are going to talk about sand. Just sand. Tiny grains that sit under your feet near the ocean or quietly gather on your windowsill after a windy day. And as simple as it might seem, sand has a long, quiet, and rather uneventful history, perfect for guiding your mind into a peaceful rest. So if you're ready, let's begin. Chapter 1. What sand actually is. Sand is mostly made of small particles, usually between 0.0625 millimeters and 2 millimeters in diameter. Anything smaller becomes silt. Anything larger becomes gravel. This measurement system is part of something called the Wentworth scale, developed in 1922 by a geologist named Chester K. Wentworth. Wentworth probably had no idea his measurement system would one day help people fall asleep. Most sand is composed of silicon dioxide in the form of quartz. Quartz is extremely stable, extremely common, and extremely uninteresting, which makes it perfect for our relaxing purpose tonight. Chapter 2. Where sand comes from. Sand begins its life as part of a larger rock, maybe granite, maybe sandstone, maybe basalt. Over thousands or millions of years, wind, water, and temperature changes slowly break down these rocks into smaller and smaller pieces. A mountain becomes a boulder becomes a stone becomes gravel, and eventually a grain of sand. This process is called weathering, and it is one of the most gradual, slow-moving activities on Earth. There is no rush. Nature never hurries, and neither should you as you relax and let your mind drift. Chapter 3. The long journey of a grain of sand. A grain of sand can travel, but very slowly. It may be carried by a river, tumbling gently along the riverbed for decades, or even centuries. It may move through waves along a beach. One wave pushes it forward, the next pulls it back. Forward, back, forward, back. A rhythmic dance with no urgency at all, or it may simply sit in the same place for thousands of years, completely undisturbed, which is, honestly, a pretty peaceful existence. Some grains of sand spend their whole lives without ever moving more than a few centimeters. Chapter 4. The many types of sand. Even though sand seems simple, there are actually many types. There is quartz sand, the most common. There is gypsum sand, like at White Sands National Park in New Mexico, which looks almost like snow. There is volcanic sand, made of dark basalt. There is coral sand, formed from the remains of tiny marine organisms. And then there is something called oolitic sand. Oolitic sand is made of tiny spherical grains called oolites, formed when calcium carbonate builds up layer by layer. A bit like a very tiny pearl, but far less exciting. Chapter 5. Sand dunes. Mountains that move slowly. Sand can form dunes when wind gathers enough grains in one place. Dunes move, but incredibly slowly, often just a few meters per year. Some dunes are small. Some are over 300 meters tall. They drift across deserts inch by inch over decades, quietly, patiently, like nature's version of a screensaver. Chapter 6. Sand in the ocean underneath the ocean. Sand forms large underwater plains. These plains, called abyssal plains, are among the flattest surfaces on Earth. They stretch for hundreds of kilometers, silent and untouched. If you imagine standing on the ocean floor, surrounded by sand in every direction, nothing moving except maybe a slow current, it might feel strangely comforting. Just quiet, stillness, and time passing in long, gentle waves. Chapter 7. Sand and Life. Many creatures rely on sand, although most of them lead very slow and calm lives. Some fish hide in sand. Some crabs burrow into it. Sea turtles lay their eggs in it. Even plants in deserts anchor themselves using roots that stretch deep into sandy soil. Everywhere you find sand, you find small, quiet ecosystems. Chapter 8. The human use of sand. Humans use sand for many things, but none of them are particularly thrilling. We use it to make glass by heating quartz to very high temperatures. We use it to make concrete, mixing it with cement and gravel. We use it in electronics because silicon comes from quartz. In fact, much of modern civilization is built on sand, literally. But despite all these uses, sand remains one of the slowest, least dramatic resources in the world. Chapter 9. The Age of Sand. A single grain of sand might be older than the human species. Some grains are millions of years old. Some may be fragments of rocks that existed long before dinosaurs. Some may predate entire mountain ranges, and still they sit quietly. They don't change. They don't complain. They don't hurry. They simply exist. Chapter 10. The thought of stillness as you listen. Imagine a peaceful desert. Endless sand stretching to the horizon. No noise, no rush, only calm. Each grain has taken thousands of years to reach its place, so there is no pressure for you to move quickly either. Let yourself settle, the way sand settles at the bottom of a clear pool of water, drifting down softly, finding a place to rest. Chapter 11. The future of sand. Over millions of years, sand might become stone again through a process called lithification. Then weathering will break it down again, and the cycle will continue, slowly, calmly, almost endlessly. Sand teaches us that nature doesn't rush. Everything finds its shape in time, and rest is part of the process. Closing thoughts as we reach the end of this quiet exploration of sand. Allow your mind to stay in this calm place. Nothing urgent, nothing loud, just the slow, gentle passing of time, the way sand shifts grain by grain. If your eyes are getting heavy, that's perfectly fine. Let sleep come naturally, the way dunes drift across the desert, softly, silently, patiently. Good night, and may your rest be as quiet as a single grain of sand.